But this is not an easy place to play, especially when this happens. Instead of the touchdown, fumbles out of the end zone. That was a tipping point in this ballgame as Pete Carroll is looking on. Russell Wilson with some time to J.D. McKissick for the 15-yard touchdown pass. Seahawks go on to win this one. Just a huge win for Russell Wilson and company.
We're right in the right spot. There's still a lot more ball to play, and we can't get too excited. There's a lot of great teams we got to play ahead of us, and we're staying the course, and we're staying in the moment. And tonight was pretty special against a really good football team. We played lights out, and you can't play much better than how we played tonight. And I think that's because of the work ethic that we have. And but like I said, December does matter, and that's what championship teams do.
That's the story of the game, really. We turned the ball over, they didn't, and on a road game like this in this atmosphere against a great team like they are, it's tough to win when you do that.
So here's a look at the NFC playoff picture as it stands right now. The Eagles now the number 2 seed. Vikings move up to number 1. The Seahawks in that first wild card spot, and then you can see the rest of the teams who are still in the hunt. This was a little bit of a surprise to me. I know Seattle is a tough place to play. The Eagles have been just playing so well, almost looking unbeatable. What did Sunday night tell you about Philly?
Well, I think that they're preparing for what life is going to be like in the playoffs. I think they got a good road test in the regular season so that they can get an idea of what the intensity will be like when you get to the playoffs. And this was, to me, was like a playoff game. At least Seattle approached it in that fashion. And listen, they still play well. I mean, they turned the ball over down in the red zone and uncharacteristic plays on defense, giving up some plays that they normally wouldn't give up. So I'm not overall worried about losing yesterday. I think it's a great learning experience.
Did this bolster your opinion a lot of the Seahawks, or is just this the same Seahawks team that we're used to seeing most of the time?
I think for the most part it is the same Seahawks team that we're used to seeing, albeit without the Legion, most of the guys from the Legion of Boom. And there's a little bit of an adjustment that has to happen with the Seahawks secondary, and we have seen it from time to time with these guys being out, they giving up big plays. But last night they played well. But here's the question. How much can Russell Wilson continue to carry this team? I mean, he's 82% of the offense.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's insane. That's never been done. So how much can he continue to do that? And if so, how far would that get them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it is the one main question when you talk about this team. Russell Wilson responsible for 29 out of the 30 touchdowns the Seahawks offense has scored this year. J.D. McKissick, the only other player who has scored a rushing touchdown on the Seahawks. He's everything.
Big playoff ramifications in this one. Also, clearly an important game for the Giants, as we've discussed. Their head coach fired today. But it was also big for the home team in Oakland. Raiders running low on wideouts. Without Cooper or Crabtree, went to beast mode early and often, and he delivered, putting the team and several Giants defenders on his back with his first 100-yard game since 2015. Carr also spread the ball around to the receivers that he did have, and the Oakland defense did its part against an undermanned New York squad, led on this day by Geno Smith, who didn't play all that poorly, but did cough the ball up 2 times, this time to Khalil Mack. Raiders win 24-17 and move to 6-6 in the process, which means that they are now tied for first in the AFC West because Kansas City lost again. Despite the presence of the newly signed Darrelle Revis, who made his Chiefs debut against his old Jets team, and despite the fact that Andy Reid handed over play calling to Matt Nagy, and despite the fact that they were definitely in it down 7 in the 4th, unable to convert on 4th and 6th though. So New York won. Chiefs dropped their 4th and 6th of the last 7. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Chargers are moving in the other direction, hosting Cleveland yesterday on a memorable day for Josh Gordon, his first game back since 2014. 4 catches, 85 yards for him. Not bad, also not enough, because Phillip Rivers, who took over Eli's longest active starting streak, has the Chargers offense rolling. 3 straight games of 400 yards or more. 3 straight games of 100 yards or more for Keenan Allen. He is on fire. Chargers are too, and look what we have here as a result. A 3-way tie for first with 3 teams sitting at 500. 12 games in the season. Does this one go all the way down to week 17, you think? Chargers, Raiders in Los Angeles? Is that what decides this?
I think it possibly could, but there's a lot of football left.
Yep.
I'll tell you, when I think about it, we got a month, but both of the teams, Oakland and the Chargers, have tough schedules. I mean, when I look at Oakland's schedule, they don't play a team that's 500 or worse. All the teams
All good
500 or
football
better.
teams,
All good football teams. And then when you think about the Chargers, they got Washington this week, which is not going to be easy. That's at home. But then you go on the road 2 straight weeks at Kansas City and at the Jets. So those will be tough games as well. So, I mean, who knows? A lot of football left to play. I'm sure these guys right now, they're not thinking about the last game of the season.
No. And it's also, when you look at the schedule, you're trying to figure out, okay, what are they going to be at the end? I mean, it's not easy for either one of these football teams. And then Kansas City showed some signs of life, at least on offense. Alex threw 4 touchdowns. They were still in it. The Jets are a good football team, obviously, at New York. They can play tough. They've played teams tough all year. They can score some points. So it's going to come down to the last week, I think.
So if it does come down to L.A. Oakland, and if one of them actually ends up winning this division and not Kansas City, it'll be the first time in 8 years that someone other than KC or Denver will have won this division.
Wow.
Raiders haven't won since 2002, and the Chargers haven't won since you left.
Monday Night Football, it is the Steelers and the Bengals. After an 0-3 start, they are 5-3 in their last 8 games are the Bengals. And one of the reasons is that guy, the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, a different quarterback the last 8 games, playing at a much higher level. 16 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. Let's bring in Aditi Kinkabwala, who is at the game. Andy Dalton playing better. They'd like to see that running game duplicate what they did against the Browns, specifically Joe Mixon, wouldn't they, Aditi?
Well, Dan, that's right. Now, part of this is that new offensive coordinator Bill Lazor has, with Andy Dalton, gone back to plays that really speak to him, that are in his wheelhouse. As for Joe Mixon, he's gone back to the best way that this team likes to run. And, Dan, that is north-south, not trying to bounce the ball outside. I talked to running back Gio Bernard about that this week. He said, look, part of it is the plays, the way that we're calling it. Part of it is Joe Mixon, the rookie, growing up and recognizing that he just needs to go directly upfield and not try to beat guys outside. But of course, a lot of this is really what Mixon has taken on of himself. His coaches have challenged him. They've said, this is all on you now. With Jeremy Hill on IR, that means there's a very good division of labor here. Mixon knows what his role is. Bernard knows what his role is. And there's not a lot of confusion every week. Mixon has been meeting with his O-line once a week for the last few weeks, talking about what it is they need to do. And certainly, the Bengals feel that a route for success against the Steelers is running the ball, Dan. And when I come back to you, I'll have an update on Antonio Brown.
Thank you very much, Aditi. Looking forward to hearing that. Will he play or won't he play? With head coach and general manager out, is Eli back in? Michael Silver, who spoke with the Giants quarterback after yesterday's loss to the Raiders, reveals the mindset of